Cindy, the importance of being able to ask questions during the interview for the purposes of getting information for yourself to decide if this is an opportunity you're really interested in, but also to give the employer the idea that you're interested enough in what they have to offer, that you've thought about this ahead of time, and that there are some things you want to make sure that you understand and are clear on. It's a good idea to make a list of maybe 10 questions that you want to ask and have that list with you when you go to the interview. What it does is when the employer asks, do you have any questions for me, you've got a prepared list that you can read off of that will not only save time, but make sure that you address the information that you think is important for you to know so that you don't forget in the heat of the moment. There are some questions you don't want to ask. You want to avoid questions about salary. You don't want to talk about benefits. And the reason that I suggest to people that you don't talk about those things in a job interview is because the employer hasn't made up their mind yet who they want to pick. You really have no power to start talking about that or negotiating that. Most of the time, all the employer is going to do is use that to decide that you may not be a suitable candidate.
And it sends the wrong message, too, that you're only concerned about you instead of them as the company.
Another question that's not good to ask is, when do I start? Because they haven't decided who they're going to pick yet. And some employers might say, well, you know what, I don't know if I want you. And that could take an interview that may have been going really well and really finish it off on a very down note. Some other excellent questions to ask. When do you hope to have this position filled? What happened to the person who held the position before me? If that person was promoted, that lets you know that this is a position where you're going to be able to move up within the organization. If that person is on some type of a leave, what's going to happen when that person comes back? Is this a temporary position, perhaps, because of that? So those are some good questions that you can ask as well. Are there any other questions maybe that you suggest to people to ask?
Also, what are the next steps in the process is really a good way to find out, how close you are to the end, and to also to reinforce to the person that you are interested in being their candidate of choice.
I think the most useful question, in my opinion, is what are you looking for in the person to fill this position? And then as the employer is going through their list of qualifications and skills, jot those things down on your notes. And then when they finish, wow, that's amazing that you said that because I can, and then you go down and you tell them how you meet each of those things that they said they were looking for, so that when you're finished, they're going to recognize that you are the person that they want to consider for the job.